Welcome back, viewers. Well, I realize that perhaps there are a number of people who know Flames of War, and then there are those who don't. So let's do a little bit of a background here on Flames of War. Flames of War, think of it as a company command game. Your role as company commander could be a tank unit, an infantry unit, or a mechanized unit, and you have certain core platoons, and you can have extra things added on depending on your point limit. Now for us here, this is going to the 1100 points for both sides, and this is based off of the Flames of War 3rd edition rules. We are playing the Hold the Line mission here, where the Germans are the defenders, the Russians are the attackers. That would make sense for Operation Bagration in 1944. So what does a quick summary of a turn of Flames of War look like? Well, basically, you're going to have your start where you can rally troops, get vehicles that are stuck, unstuck. We use the term bog. Then you can move, you can shoot, and then you can assault. And there's an Axis portion of the turn and an Allied portion of the turn. So the Axis go through this, and then the Allies go through this, and that's a single turn of the game. Now, let's take a closer look at our battlefield, shall we? So, in looking at it, this is somewhere over in Bielorussia, or White Russia, in June of 1944. We have a Russian village here. We have a roadway that is starting from here, crossing a river, and going out the other way. Now, the German units that are secretly held in ambush, they're underneath this giant styrofoam box. But for the Russians, who have already set up, okay, they have to do one of two things. They either need to seize control of one of these objectives, this destroyed T-34, or this destroyed German mortar tank destroyer. That's choice one. Or choice number two, force the German company to retreat off the board by, once it occurs with 50% casualties, it has to roll to see if it will stay on the table. The problem is, this is a Sperver bond. Their motivation is not that great. They are considered to be reluctant veterans, with the exception of the Panzer IV unit, which are confident veterans. Now, our Russian troops on the other side here, they're already set up. Basically, we have got 3 blocks of units. We have our large block of tanks here. We have our Motostrelkovy here. Now, that's going to be a brittle unit because we only got 7 guys. Over here, we have the smaller T-34 unit here. So, what is the basic plan of attack for the Russian player? Well, essentially, the Russians are going to be able to cross the stream. It costs double the movement. It's not a bog threat. They're not going to go down the bridge here simply because they think there's ambushing German units. They know there are German units there. They just don't know where and with what. Okay, so these Russian units need to cross over. They're going to cross over and try very quickly bypass the woods, maybe bypass the buildings here if they can, and seize this objective. At the same time, our Motostrelkovy will cross the river, go into the woods, slowly work their way into the village, clear that out if needed, to allow the tanks to go seize the objective. Now, our last group of tanks over here, they're going to go through, they're going to take the chances, go through the woods. There is a chance of bogging in there anytime that they move. We have to be careful about that. The woods can result in being bogged. They'll have to do a bog check in order to deal with that. The haystacks that you're seeing there don't do anything in terms of terrain or visibility. Other than that, I think we've covered all the terrain here. This is just, it doesn't have any effect on the terrain itself. It's just there merely for aesthetic purposes. So we look back, and that is our map disposition for Russian turn 1. The Germans are in ambush. That's why you don't see them on the table. Fun times ahead.